Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Podcast Strikes Back. My name is George, and you're listening to our weekly show, The Weekly Movie Show. Wow, we got to come up with a better name than that, don't we, boys? Connor.
Hello.
Benny.
We're so good at naming things. It's amazing.
I feel like that was probably the least boisterous entry you've ever done.
Well, you
George.
guys asked me to tone it down this week, and I woke up and I'm feeling a little bit chesty today.
Oh. So you don't want to ruin your microphone.
Something's coming down with something. So yeah. Anyway, how you guys been? You been watching some movies, huh?
Yeah, I'll go first. We obviously all watched Castlevania.
We
so
did
we'll talk about that.
We will, and we'll be
be
putting our review up on Tuesday, right, Connor?
Yeah, Tuesday. But last night I chucked on, just for shits and gigs, Hot Tub Time Machine.
Wow!
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It was one of those fucking nights where I spent like 20 minutes just going through Netflix trying to find something.
Yeah.
Every night.
And I just kind of got to that point. I was like, oh, fuck it. I'll just watch this. It's funny.
It's good. It's a good
movie.
Comedies, I think, of every genre have like the lowest hit rate.
Yeah.
And when you get a good one, it really stands out, I think, somehow.
That one never stood out to me.
No, didn't like it?
No.
I mean, it's
The ensemble. The ensemble was pretty good.
I didn't realize John Cusack was a really kind of like a comedic actor.
He's a good guy, man.
I love Rob Corddry.
Yeah, he's
no one
funny
plays a douchebag like him, and he seems like the nicest guy in the world. As well.
Yeah.
Who's the young fella in that?
Oh, Clark Duke.
Yeah.
He's so funny.
He's
I love
great.
that kid. Yeah. And Craig Robinson as well.
Craig Robinson for me is that he stands out.
He's the man.
He's so
Yeah.
good
He's
with that
so
just that delivery
funny.
of it's some kind of hot tub time machine.
Him and Zach and Mary make a porno. Damn, so good.
Hey, Kevin Smith.
Your white coffee?
Has anyone seen Hot Tub Time Machine 2?
No, I didn't bother.
Don't even mention
John
that.
Cusack didn't even show up for that one. So, and yeah, he's
the
in
high caliber
demand.
of John Cusack didn't decide to show up for that.
Hey,
Oh no.
John Cusack is like a premier Hollywood actor. Okay, so
Since
He was in the
since
90s.
you guys told me I look like him, so
I forgot about that. Sorry, George.
I'm fully getting behind him now. He's like any John Cusack movie that comes out from now on, I'm behind.
that's part of the reason I actually watched it, because Ben, you mentioned last night or the night before, whenever it was, that George kind of looked like John Cusack. I was like, And all I could see the entire time was George.
Oh, we all started comparing.
I'm so sorry, George.
Who's our Hollywood lookalike?
Man,
You've got the black shirt and the black trench coat on right now. Like it's spot on.
Yeah, so scary.
Georgie.
I chucked on The Fugitive.
Oh.
Harry Ford. Yeah. Fugitive.
Stop trying to hype up The Fugitive.
Are you kidding me? The Fugitive fucking rocks. I love The Fugitive. I've loved this movie since I was like 8 years old. It's one of those ones that I remember watching with my parents from a young age, and it being quite intense, and but it was still okay for the family to watch. But yeah, I love that movie. Tommy Lee Jones is great. There's so many iconic scenes, the train scene.
By far my favorite thing about The Fugitive, two favorite things, is the joke in The Simpsons and the joke in Ace Ventura. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I've seen it, but that's all I remember.
Yeah. That was probably my first exposure to it. It's Millhouse down the drain pipe with Tommy Lee Jones. That was fantastic.
I don't care.
I don't know. I think I've just got a real soft spot for that movie, and I like to chuck it on every once in a while.
All those 90s Ford movies really blend together for me. He was kind of doing the same thing for a while there.
Yeah. But he's so good.
Yeah.
He's like his big beard. He has a beard in the first half. And you've never really seen Harrison Ford like that, so that's a little bit interesting.
Is he a surgeon in that movie?
Yep.
I do not buy him as a surgeon at all.
I do.
I do love how Tommy Lee Jones' character in that film, he also played in another film.
Yeah, US Marshals.
Yeah. Which makes it an early example of a shared universe, I guess. It's really cool.
Yeah, it kind of is. I've never seen that, I don't think.
Is it Wesley Snipes in that film?
Maybe.
Am I thinking of a different one?
But yeah, Fugitive, 10 out of 10. Get involved.
Check it out. That's our official
Do you not
review.
like The Fugitive, Connor?
I mean, it's all right, but it's in that category of Harrison Ford. What is that, a 90s film?
Do you guys like Witness? That other, I think, must be 80s, late 80s,
God, I don't
early
even think
90s.
I've seen Witness.
The Amish
best
one?
ones.
The Amish one?
The Amish one. Just say that. That's what it is.
Well, I mean, you say they all blend together.
Look, if he doesn't say, get off my plane, then I'm not interested.
Okay, fair enough.
That's
Or he's
the
not
one.
holding a gun in the trailer.
Yeah.
Ben?
So I had the pleasure of seeing It Comes at Night this week.
Oh yeah, I wanted to see
the
that.
new kind of psychological horror film starring Australia's own
Joel Egerton. Oh boy. He didn't direct this, did he?
No, he didn't. No,
Okay.
but apparently, I was reading some interviews. Apparently, he was very kind of creative on set.
Yeah.
He has a lot of feedback
Yeah.
and stuff.
Nice.
For a second-time director, I think. I feel like I said this last week, and I hope I get to say this every week, but I think this is my favorite film of the year.
Wow.
I had a sneaking suspicion this might just kind of come under the radar and
Damn, I'm so upset we aren't reviewing it this week. We have to review it for next week. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much or anything, and I don't want to hype it up too much because a lot of people are having a very different reaction to this movie.
Okay.
They feel like they've been lied to by the trailers.
Okay.
And it is definitely not perhaps exactly what it looked like.
What's the trailer kind of marketing it as? I remember watching it,
Or,
but I
look,
can't.
when you got a movie called...
It's like an indie kind of dark horror. It makes it look like.
Yeah. And when you got a movie called It Comes at Night, maybe you go in expecting a fucking vampire or something to show up, which is not the case. I'll just say it's not the case. Because,
But to be honest, I got more of like a thriller kind of character vibe more than I did.
We'll get into this at some point in great depth, I'm sure, but I hate this, like... Is it horror? No, I hate this. Is it horror debate? I have no time for it.
Yeah.
If it's like a scary movie with a horrible situation, it's just a horror. It's fine. We don't need to get into semantics about it, you know? And all these people was like, oh, I was lied to. It wasn't a horror film.
Yeah.
It was something else. No, fuck off. Anyway, I love this movie so much. I
that's so
saw
good
it,
to hear.
I saw it in a big 700-seat cinema, alone, completely alone. And it just blew my mind. I sat there for like 10 minutes after it ended, and it was the last session of the day. So the lights started coming down all of a sudden when I was still in there.
Freaky.
I've never exited a cinema so fast in my life. Just a really amazingly dark, just fucking nihilistic film.
Awesome.
I thought it was fantastic.
And in terms of scariness, pretty scary. Not horror, like unsettling.
Actually, what I would really compare this movie to, and this is one of my absolute favorite movies of the past few years as well, is Take Shelter.
That's
by
what I was gonna
Mike Nichols.
Oh,
because this is the film which
This is what it looks like.
okay.
and this is where a lot of people I think feel like they've been lied to. So kind of some of the scary stuff in the trailer. There's a lot of nightmare sequences in this film,
Right.
and I don't think that's a spoiler because it's shown very clearly in the film. In a very cool way, the nightmare sequences, it changes aspect ratio, gets a bit more closed in. Yeah,
cool.
So yeah, a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, it didn't really happen," and my response is, "It's a movie. None of it really happened, you idiot. It's just take it for what it is."
But, I love Take Shelter. I remember you telling me about that years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe that was 2010 that came out.
2011, I think it was.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that chucking that on and absolutely blown away.
Yeah.
Immediately became a fan of that director.
Yeah.
So this is a pity the last one.
This is a
he did
twofold
wasn't
recommendation. If you haven't seen Take Shelter either, fucking check it out.
Go right now.
Yeah, amazing.
Brilliant.
Anyway, that's been my week.
Yeah, sounds fun.
So we move on to the news segment.
News.
That's
what I was trying to say.
The newsy.
I was trying to read and speak at the same time.
Can't be
and I just forgot that I can't,
We can't
do that.
multitask, man.
All right, on to the. I was about to say moose again. Fucking God.
Moose
damn it.
news.
It's my Canadian coming out. Should we go on to the moose? All right, on to the news. First up, we have news dropped this week that Tarantino's 9th film is going to be around the subject matter of the Manson family murders.
So this is huge news.
It
This
is
Tarantino's second
pretty
last film.
Big news.
Yeah,
We don't get these very often.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
The quote is that he's taking a unique take on the Manson family murders. That worries me because I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the Manson family murders are still a bit of maybe not a touch, like it's still a bit raw in the public consciousness.
To some degree, yes, and then to other degrees, no. I know that sounds weird.
Ever.
I know.
It's deep, man.
I mean,
I
remember.
I don't want to disagree with you, but I also don't want to agree with you.
I remember watching Nine Inch Nails behind the scenes video where Trent Reznor actually bought the house in New Orleans and built the studio. When he recorded The Fragile, the album that came out in '99.
Did not know that.
In there, and that was what the Manson murders. What, 70s, right?
Sure.
God.
I mean, I don't really know. I don't know much
I
about
should
it.
know that.
It's just,
But I
it's
think
just so
it's-
fresh in my consciousness that I
I
can't
think it's
remember.
like I think there's been enough time past that like Charles Manson is like almost like this pop culture.
Yeah.
Figure now.
He certainly is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound insensitive, but it never crossed my mind to give a single shit that this is like a real life event being dramatized in a Tarantino film. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is Tarantino. I'll place him making a film as much more important than anyone getting offended by anything. Whatever.
Yeah. If he's like one of these guys who has like creative license to kind of toe the line, I feel. Like there's not many directors that could have killed Hitler in the manner that he did in Inglourious Bastards and get away with it.
I feel like that's kind of a like any director could have done that though.
I don't
Like,
think so.
You're literally killing
that's the statement
the
was.
worst man in history.
But he's altering history, and it's like Nazi Germany in World War II is still like.
People took big issue with that as well.
Yeah.
Did they really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
What kind of like literal-minded, serious person would you have to be to watch this movie that opens up with Once Upon a Time in Nazi-occupied France, and then it takes that turn? It's like, that didn't happen. This is a terrible film.
But like I think he got away with it more so than other people would have.
Yeah, I think he fucking nailed it. I love that movie.
I just do you think he's going to go down like a sympathetic Charles Manson
Well,
portrayal?
that was my worry,
Yeah.
and it was kind of the thought that, or the movie that kind of came to mind. I have no idea why. Was The Devil's Rejects, which is this kind
it's
of
Rob Zombie.
yeah, and it's this weird like. It is almost a sympathetic,
It's very gratuitous.
very gratuitous. I don't even know how to say it. Like it's
They're like a family that like
murders. Yeah,
murder people.
yeah, and you're kind of meant like they're the kind of protagonists.
Yeah, protagonist.
Protagonists. And yeah, so I was just kind of like, I hope this movie doesn't kind of go down that road. I don't know why it would.
Yeah, I
but
don't really see
that's
Tarantino
really-
doing that. I mean, in his movies, I feel like the bad guys pretty much always get their comeuppance. Usually the good guys get it pretty bad as well. But
Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone just kind of gets a
Yeah.
equal level of shit levied at them.
yeah, but the only kind of real news we have at this point is that Margot Robbie has been talking with him perhaps to star as the lead,
Yeah.
which I would think means that Manson himself wouldn't kind of be like the main
Yep.
focus. You know?
What a meteoric rise for Margot Robbie. I mean, she's like only a couple years older than us. She's like 28, 29. And she's got her own production company. Like she's worked with like some really, really high profile directors, Scorsese, maybe Tarantino, David Yates. Okay, Tarzan kind of sucked, but like
Kinda.
her roster of directors that she's worked with is
Another
pretty
stars as well.
impressive.
David Ayer.
David Ayer. Yeah, Suicide. What are we, some kind of Suicide Squad?
Oh man.
If you think about, working with Will Smith and working with fucking Leonardo DiCaprio.
And working
some
with
big
Jai
fucking-
Courtney, fellow Australians just taking over Hollywood.
It was probably the dream for her
Joy.
whole career, was to work with Jai Courtney.
Yeah, and she's got her own production company. Like I think she has some stake in an upcoming franchise. Like I can't remember off the top of my head. but-
Gotham City Sirens.
Has she got a stake in
She's
that?
producing. I
That's
think.
right.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
taking control of this character that is hugely popular and means a lot to a lot of people, and was probably not amazingly well served by her first film. So.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That is one
Good
way
for
to
her.
put it.
Oh well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Supposed ninth and second final Tarantino film. We'll see.
Mm.
We'll see Tarantino. I reckon he'll come back for more. Anyway.
Yeah. On to the next one. Speaking of DC, Ben, Matt Reeves has stated that he's not using the Ben Affleck, Jeff Johns script for Batman film. So he's thrown it out, which means that he is starting from, I guess, fresh.
Yeah, so this
I guess
is-
as fresh as a Batman film can be.
Yeah. So this is pretty standard for the DC. Is when they get to their third director, they start their fifth script.
Yep. Yeah, just keep them coming.
Sounds about right.
They're just learning. Each revision, they're learning.
I don't know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing.
It's a good thing. Matt Reeves, as we've gone on at great length before, is fantastic.
Yeah.
He
doesn't
a lot
need
of
that
faith in
dead weight.
Affleck at this point. Yeah, he should absolutely just do what he wants to do. It sounds like he's got a bit of swing on this film because they approached him while he was working on War for the Planet of the Apes, and he was like, "Look, I'll talk to you later. I got to finish this. I'm going to focus on this." And it sounds like he really did focus on that and really pulled something
It would have
fantastic
been easy
together.
for them to have then just gone and found a different director for the sake of finding a director, putting a name out there.
But they knew there was a lot riding on this film, and they needed to nail it. I think this is great. I think there was a lot of dead weight and a lot of negative baggage with that Affleck script. And I think just cutting ties, starting afresh, I think it's a really good move. As you said, Benny, Matt Reeves, he's the guy. So just let him do his thing. He's got a plan. He wants to tap into a bit more of that Nolan aesthetic, he said recently.
Which
let's see.
you can see that in his Apes films.
Definitely.
I think a fresh start is definitely what this movie needs because they'd already like cast Deathstroke and released footage of it. It feels very piecemeal. So I think coming at it fresh.
It'll always be one of those things where we'll never know.
Yeah.
You know, like for all we know, the Ben Affleck written and or directed film could have been a masterpiece. But I mean, we'll never get that.
I would have liked to have seen
version.
it, but I think this is a better scenario
In
for everyone.
in the spectrum of never actually being able to know, I'm going to put this on like the fairly sure end that Matt Reeves' Batman will be better than Ben Affleck's Batman.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. But, we all have faith in Matt Reeves, so it's probably not a giant leap to make.
And War of the Planet of the Apes is up soon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Couple weeks.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Very
I
excited.
need that. Need that film.
Yeah.
I was reading an interview today saying how that movie's going to be controversial.
Oh,
Controversial how?
I don't know. I heard it's not exactly what it's being marketed as or something. I'm like,
Okay.
"Ooh, that's getting me very intrigued.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's
Give me
what I like
something
to see in
different.
some blockbusters. Yeah.
yeah. Cool.
Very interested by that statement. Like it's such a vague statement as well. You could be like that. It could be anything.
Anything.
This summer, anything is possible.
It's a stealth DC film.
All right. What do we got up next, Condor?
All right. So we've been getting a lot of news out of D23 recently.
Including
the big Disney Expo.
Mhm.
Yep. And including some Star Wars stuff that we'll be talking on a little bit later in the episode.
Yeah, we will get to that. But in other news coming out of D23, first off, we've had an announcement for Incredibles 2 to start directly from the end Underminer scene from the first film. So I don't know if you guys remember, there's that last little scene where this like little mole man pops up and exclaims that he's the Underminer.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool little tag. They're a family unit again, superhero team, ready to take him on. I don't think it needed to be picked up directly from there.
Yeah, I'm less. I guess with these kind of sequels, I kind of want 10 years to go by.
I was
type
kind of
thing.
expecting that.
Yeah, Incredibles is groundbreaking, I feel, as a superhero film. It's probably still the best superhero film ever put on screen, really. And
It's the best Fantastic Four film ever done.
yeah, hell yeah. And I really kind of expected when it got announced that I don't like the idea of all these sequels, but I expected they would take at least a semi-realistic amount of time since the first film for the second film, and I thought they could do something really interesting with that again, with all these aging characters and stuff, but no, they're just jumping directly in, like literally from the last.
Well, what
scene.
we'll end up getting is just a really long Incredibles film, if that's the case.
Yeah, but it may be a case of the first half being really good and the second half being shit.
yeah.
Is Brad Bird back?
He's back, yeah, and his last
Okay.
movie sucked.
The last one, what was that one
Tomorrowland.
called? Tomorrowland.
Oh, boy, that was a
weird
mess.
That was
film.
painful.
Yeah,
That was so bad.
yeah, I love Brad Bird too, but
Clooney.
yeah.
Do you think that property could have ever been good though?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Of course, it could have been good.
Yeah,
I mean, no, but yes, it could have been good. Any movie could be good
Could have been a lot worse.
if it's good.
Could have been a little bit better.
Yeah.
Could have been slightly.
given the
Better?
situation that it was in, I guess.
Parts of
That's
it
what I'm
were
They were a Disney production. They
Amazing.
had financial backing. They had a massive
one of the greatest
production.
directors
Like
working.
they fucked it. There's no. It's on them.
Who knows
So-
how?
Yeah. Fair call.
But yeah, what bothers me about this Incredibles thing is also they're going to have to recast some of the kids. Or Dash at least,
right.
because
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
played by a child, which I don't like. They did that with Nemo and Finding Nemo, and that really did not feel like the same character to me at all.
That Finding Nemo movie
Finding
sucked.
Dory, sorry.
That sucked.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I thought it
I
was
don't know.
fine.
I don't
No,
know if I'd say
no,
it sucked.
sorry.
It felt so empty and vacuous.
Yeah.
It felt exactly what Finding Nemo 2 should feel like. Just a cash grab.
Yeah, I'm
Put it that way.
not a fan of sequels for these kind of Disney films.
But
Having said that,
what about
I
Toy
love
Story 2?
Story.
Toy
yeah,
Story
yeah,
2?
yeah. Well, let me finish.
Wait.
I was going to say the exception being, Toy Story, which has obviously made 4 films that have been absolutely spectacular. The fourth one particularly because I was so worried about that film.
I love the fourth one, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys
Oh,
talking-
sorry, third. What the fuck am I talking about? I'm getting ahead of myself
I'm
already.
scanning my head. It's like, is that a spin-off one that I forgot about?
I was just like,
Rex's Adventure?
yeah. I don't know why I thought just in my head the newest one was a fourth one. No, sorry,
I'm
third
pretty
one.
sure there's a fourth one coming.
All right, that's what I was thinking. The third one was really good, but they've announced the fourth one.
Oh.
And that one, that's in our notes. Look at that. Hell yeah. But they announced that shit ages ago.
Anyway,
We've known that for
continue.
ages.
No. This is the official announcement for it.
Okay, they were.
And they've announced the
Well,
director
spoiler
as well.
alert, the fourth one's been announced. We can talk about that now. Well, I can just talk about the story now. That really, really, really worries me because the third one I felt was such a gamble. And because they pulled it off, I felt like I'd kind of gotten away with murder. I was like, whew, that was a close one.
Yeah, like
hope they just leave it there.
Perfect trilogy. Who the
Yeah.
fuck's
It's the
done that before?
best trilogy I can think of.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You couldn't
With the
even. I
exception
don't
of
think you could
Lord of the
even.
Rings, I think.
You could ask 100 people to rank those three movies, and I don't think you'd get any kind of consensus on them.
No, I agree.
Wow, yeah.
I've got a real soft spot for number 2.
2 is, Jesus.
2's brilliant.
They're all brilliant though. That's the problem.
That's the problem. I'd agree with you, and then I'd be like, oh, what about the third
So did
one?
Lasseter do 3?
He did he
I honestly
co-directed
don't know.
or
I have a feeling 2 guys
No, I think
directed.
I think someone else
3.
took over for 3 even. But I think he was meant to be working on 4, but he's dropped out of that, and a really young guy is taking the reins on that one.
I'm very worried about that. I'm not
What are they
sure
gonna
where
do
the
with it,
story is going to go. Like that was such a beautiful arc to finish. Number 3, like ending your time with Andy, starting it fresh, the next chapter, and just like kind of walking off in the sunset. Where they're going to be, where they're going to go.
Okay, so
just leave it up to your imagination.
The second film kind of tackled immortality. The third one tackled mortality very intensely. I think they should follow that thread and just start killing them off in this one.
Yeah.
Really? Well, yeah, actually,
I mean, they're damn close doing it in the third.
Hunger Games,
Exactly,
Toy
yeah.
Story.
Two of them are dead already. Jim Varney and Don Rickles, Slinky Dog and Potato Head. They have passed
my God,
away.
you're right, yeah.
Jim
Right.
Varney was dead for the third one as well. But anyway, just kill them all off.
Take him out.
Yeah, send them back to the incinerator.
Jesus.
No Toy Story 5, please.
Why the fuck are they doing Toy Story 4?
Why did they do Monsters University and
That
Finding
bums
Dory?
me out.
Yeah.
That bums me out.
None of
It's a
them.
bum. It sucks.
Yeah. In other news, because we kind of skipped around unintentionally.
My bad.
The other one is WreckIt Ralph 2, another sequel.
Fuck.
I'm so over these goddamn fucking sequels.
WreckIt Ralph 1 had a lot of potential to be better than it was, so there is potential here for it.
I really liked WreckIt Ralph.
People hyped up WreckIt Ralph a bit too much. I thought it was very solid, and I think of all of their franchises, this is one that has a lot of potential for sequels. I think it's a very cool, just because of all the familiar faces popping up.
I just don't think
Go for it.
they did that great of a job with number 1. I think the concepts and some of the visuals were great, but I think as a film,
I'm not
You're
saying
such a negative Nelly today. Like, Jesus.
I'm not saying this is why you didn't like it specifically. I think a lot of people though went in expecting like, oh, it's going to be all Mario and Sonic for the whole thing, and that was a very kind of small part of the film.
Yeah, like extremely small.
Yeah, which was good. I think it should be able to stand on its own without all those IPs. It was cool to just get a glimpse of these other characters.
I love seeing Dr. Eggman.
Yeah, suppose
There's a lot of
Mario's going to have a big part in the second one.
There was a lot of obscure references in that as well, which I liked. I didn't think it would have been as good if they had just hyped up the major characters that everyone recognizes. I liked that it was his own little thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's Ralph Breaks the Internet, I believe is the trailer that they showed.
Yeah, so
we don't have access to
I don't
it.
know if you guys remember Futurama, the version of the internet in that, where they kind of go into the internet. It's like a physical place or a virtual space, but they're
Kinda like
kind of
Tron.
walking around and stuff. Yeah, I think that's the direction they're heading with this. And it's going to have just an insane amount of kind of Disney IP included in this film. Like the trailer shown had at least half a dozen Disney princesses from the Disney Princess brand, all featured in it, all reprising the voice actors reprising their roles for it. So I guess they're going the opposite direction than I was just saying for the first film. Where they're just going to fuck it, let's just take all the characters we have and make an Avengers. Yeah, I think it would be fun. I like the first one.
Yeah.
George, you don't seem too excited.
Yeah, whatever. That's all I got to say on WreckIt Ralph.
Why don't we
2.
move on before you get...
Why don't we talk about another thing that we haven't had access to, but Infinity War trailer dropped at D23. That's a spicy meatball.
Yeah.
That's a real bummer.
Evidently, it shows how the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Earth-based Avengers meet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is it, and it's exactly kind of what we speculated it would be.
Yep.
In our Marvel episode, actually.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Go check that out. Go check that out.
Okay. Well, when do we think that trailer will be released to the public?
Maybe tomorrow.
Fuck. I don't think
What do you reckon
we're
they're
going
going
to
to
getting
be?
it soon. I think it's going to be before Thor.
Wow. They're going to
Which
hold
is
on.
110 days away.
Not that anyone's counting.
I think they're going to be dicks about it.
I can't wait that long.
Yeah, because I think we have had to wait quite a long time before for like Avengers trailers and stuff.
Yeah.
They've been shown. Who knows? Maybe they'll release it with like.
I still remember
or something.
watching the first Avengers trailer, and that was on the back of, or just before. I think no, it was on the back of Captain America. I think first one. Was it that or Thor?
It was one of those films.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Remember that original trailer had that "We're in this together," 9 Inch Nails.
Oh,
song?
yeah.
It's a really weird.
I love
fit
that
for that
song.
film. Me too, and it's a cool trailer. It's nothing like the movie.
Back to the Fragile.
Yeah,
That
man.
9 Inch Nails album. Let's talk about that. Hell yeah. Let's make this a movie.
Have you listened to the new EP?
I have. Only one single.
Yeah.
But man, I love it. He's continuing the synth vibe that he's been doing the last few albums. Very little guitar and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough Trent Reznor gushing.
Excellent. Moving on. Ben, I'm going to let you take the lead on this one. But it's yeah. Why don't you do this one? This is very close to your heart.
Thank you. All right, so Steve Whitmire, the voice of Kermit the Frog since 1978, when Jim Henson died, has been fired by Disney under mysterious circumstances and for unknown reasons.
Done.
Which is, I don't know. I know the Muppets is kind of a niche thing nowadays. But I think this is a huge bummer. Like, this guy, as I just said, has been voicing the character for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
He was handpicked by Jim Henson himself to take over the role before his death.
Why do you think this has happened?
And we have no idea. The only official word from Disney is the Muppet Studio thanks Steve for his tremendous contributions to Kermit the Frog and the Muppets franchise. We wish him well in his future endeavors. Which is completely nondescript.
Listen,
say anything.
read his statement.
And he's released a huge blog post on the matter, which is a little heartbreaking if you read the whole thing. But just a little snippet here is, I just want you all to know that I'm sorry if I've disappointed any of you at any point throughout our journey, and to let everyone know that I am devastated to have failed in my duty to my hero. And I'm almost choking up just reading that because it is so sad. You should read the whole thing. And this is the guy, like, he wasn't in the classic original Muppet movies. He was on the Muppet Show for a stretch, I think.
So you said since 1978?
1978. So he was the Kermit we knew growing up in all the the Muppet Christmas Carol, Muppet Treasure Island.
I was going to say, I don't know about you guys, but my childhood is basically Muppet Treasure Island. That movie for me is
I couldn't get enough of that shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it speaks to those Muppet movies that when I picture Long John Silver in my head, it's Tim Curry.
It's Tim Curry, yeah.
And when I think of Ebenezer Scrooge, it is Michael Caine, 2000%.
Same.
He is Ebenezer Scrooge. Absolutely.
I love the darkness of that that Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Muppet Christmas Carol.
Muppet Christmas Carol, yeah.
Oh God,
Very
sorry.
dark.
I brought up Muppet Treasure Island on the screen here, and it's just hitting me in the feels.
We should do a review on those,
Muppet
man.
Marathon, man.
Yes.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot. Like I'm looking at all the characters. I haven't watched this movie in ages. Like it really was kind of characterized by my childhood.
I can't believe
but
Jim
just-
Henson died in 78.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
man.
thought he died in the 80s. That's a pretty lasting legacy.
Yeah. His funeral, it's all on YouTube. It was televised, I think. It's one of the most emotional things I've ever seen. Frank Oz's eulogy to him. Holy crap. It is heartbreaking. Frank Oz, who plays Yoda, of course.
Yeah. Long-time collaborator with Jim Henson.
Yeah. And I just find it so
I
disappointing.
wanna know what happened.
It's very reminiscent of Kevin Clash, actually, the voice of Elmo, who was let go a few years ago after some sexual abuse allegations were raised, which kind of turned out to be unfounded. It's kind of a complicated case involving statute of limitations, but it seemed very dubious. As is often the case with these things, they can get complicated. But
The charges against him or his defense seem
the
dubious?
charges against him,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
They were essentially thrown out of court, but he
Wow.
completely lost his job and career over it.
Jeez.
His understudy had to take over as Elmo.
Wow.
And he kind of never recovered. So again, I don't want to bring up kind of sexual allegations, given that we have no idea what this is regarding.
A rapist?
He
Jesus, Ben.
mentions in the blog post that there were 2 issues that he tried to address, and it wasn't good enough apparently. So we just have no idea what it is, and I wouldn't be surprised if we never hear about it.
Damn.
But yeah, it's a bummer. Kermit the Frog is a character very close to my heart. I started learning the banjo because of him.
It's just started though.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. It's sad.
Yeah, I mean, all the best to him because, I mean, losing that tie with Disney, that's a big blow to anyone's career. And yeah, I just don't know where you would even try and like rebuild from there because you'd be blacklisted.
McDermott the dog, traveling around the. Country.
I mean, if you've been thrown out the door by Disney, I mean, in showbiz,
closes a lot of other doors. Disney owns everything, man.
I mean, I've never been to Hollywood, so I don't know, but I'd imagine that's maybe how it works. Yeah, sad face. Well, let's move on to something a little happier, right?
Yeah, no,
Some really happy news.
I'm excited.
A little furious.
You just said the name. You haven't done anything like clever with it yet.
I like it. That was pretty good.
No, this is Charlize Theron has said that the script for Mad Max prequel Furiosa is ready to go. I don't know about you guys, but I'm fucking pumped.
Yeah, I think I've heard rumors that Margot Robbie might be in this as well.
Fuck it, why not?
Cool.
We might as well get
much
every
of a prequel. Like we're talking like a 20-year prequel.
Yeah. That I mean, I'd be so down for that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, but I'm saying that this is always the problem with sequels. You get a cool character in a movie that is otherwise just really good, and the mentality is like, oh, I want to see more of that character. I want to see like another story surrounding that character. But I mean, that doesn't mean that the next movie is going to be good.
I completely agree. The only thing I would say does set this apart from other examples of that is this isn't taking kind of like a background character and spinning it off. Because Furiosa was essentially the main character.
Yeah.
In Mad Max Fury Road. So we know that she can already kind of carry a whole film. But yeah, on the flip side, I don't know, Mad Max Fury Road is just such a perfect entity. I don't really want to see anything else of it. I just want to watch that again and again.
Well, in saying that, I agree with the first half of your statement. But one thing that I really wanted to see in Mad Max was I wanted them to go to a little village and check out some more of the world. Like I was really keen to see more. I wanted to see these other little societies that had, formed through the ashes in this post-apocalyptic world. And I think there's room to explore more.
I think that's very much a be careful what you wish for situation because when you get a movie that's so dense with kind of lore and world building as Fury Road, it's so enticing and you're like, oh, I want to see more. But then you see it and you're like, I want to see less.
Well, I don't know. I love the production design. I wanted to see more.
Yeah. I just hearing Bullet Farm, never seeing it, I'm like, that's so cool. Like, what the fuck is a bullet farm?
I mean, if you think about the beauty of Mad Max, and it sounds almost counterintuitive, but it's essentially a long car chase film.
Yeah.
Like that's really all it is. And I think that if you had spent time, going around the world and checking out, going to little villages, I don't think that the movie would have been as good as it is.
But then now in this one, there's room for that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm excited because I love Mad Max, and this is always how sequels get you. They're just like, or prequels, like, you love that original property, don't you? You're like, yeah, I do. Guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna give you more. You're like, yes, I love that.
And then you
sometimes,
get
and then until I get it, and then I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Do we know how attached to this George Miller is?
See, this is what
Very
I was going to
attached.
ask either of you guys, because I've heard nothing.
I'm not interested if he's not
It's
around.
almost like a tumor.
Yeah.
He's so attached to it.
Are you just saying that because you feel like that's how it should be, or are you saying that because you know?
Because that's how it should be.
Okay, so what you're saying is we don't actually know.
Listen, I cannot see George Miller letting go of this. So
See, I kind of can. I feel like George Miller's pretty laissez-faire about this stuff. It's like, yeah, whatever.
that's what I love about George Miller.
He spent like 20 years before he made a sequel to the last one.
I think George Miller, he's a guy that carries himself with a lot of dignity, but he doesn't puff out his chest. You know, he's like
Yeah, he just makes happy feet films for a while.
but you know he's got humility and he's got an amazing mind and I like that.
He's a true Aussie battler.
I was just reading some stuff here, and it does look as though Thrawn is in talks with George, so there is like dialogue there. So I imagine he's relatively attached to this.
Trust me, I got this.
Yeah. So
I got the scoop.
His office is just a bus ride away from us.
Should we put up a blog? Should we put up a blog post like exclusive George Miller?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Directing.
So we can expect to
Furiosa.
see this in what, 8-9 years?
Yeah, 2025.
Yeah, that seems about the right timeline for a Miller. Mad
George
Max film.
Miller, he'll be like where Ridley Scott is right now, just kind of like
A crazy man on set.
They
We've
are
never
like-
seen a face hugger run before.
he's on the way to crazy.
They're like the same age, aren't they? Like 70 something.
Yeah, 70.
Yeah.
70 old.
George Miller just hosted the Baby Driver premiere here
Oh, did he?
last week. Yeah,
Good.
he interviewed Edgar Wright, who was also over. Apparently, he was a terrible interviewer.
Oh, really?
Like, oh god, he's just a doddering old man now, isn't he? So, how much did you like Mad Max Fury Road?
How much did you want to see my Justice League movie from 2008?
How's it feel making the second best car movie?
That would have been such a good day. All right, moving on.
Is that good dick?
Dig?
Dig. God damn. I was like, whoa.
Holy fuck. That's a good dick. Yeah.
That George Miller guy, he's got a swinging cod.
Fucking hell. Let's move on to the next one.
All right, moving on really quickly.
Speedy.
Yeah. I'm going to do this really quickly, so maybe you can hear how I don't mispronounce it. Adi Shankar. Did I get it?
Well done.
That'll do.
Yeah. Who did Power Rangers and Castlevania, which we will be reviewing next
No,
week.
he did Power
Next week.
Slash Rangers, the short film on YouTube.
Is it really?
The dark one with James Vanderbeek. That
Oh,
George
yeah,
really
sorry.
likes.
I didn't know that. I just knew that he
He's
did
busy scratching
Castlevania.
his chin, but I'm gonna show you.
Scratching your chin with a microphone? Jesus, fuck, George.
Hey, I'm sick. All right?
What? Sorry, that's not. There's no correlation between those two things.
It's the ultimate remedy, haven't you?
Are
heard?
you sick, darling? Oh, would you like a microphone to scratch your fucking chin?
Yeah, continue the story.
Yeah, sorry. He's interested in adapting Metroid as an animated series.
In the same vein as the Castlevania one that just
Castlevania.
released.
You guys are far more into Metroid than I am.
Yeah, you can wrap this up.
Yeah. I don't really have any desire to see that, but then again, I didn't really have any desire to see Castlevania either. And
Save your thoughts.
well, I can say that I liked it. Jesus,
Save your thoughts, young one.
I don't know about you guys.
Bring it. I want to see a Metroid cartoon.
Yeah, man. Let's just preface this by saying it's never going to happen. Nintendo is way too protective of their IPs. They have been branching out lately, kind of looking at their options. There was a lot of talk about a Netflix Zelda series.
I reckon it's around the corner, man.
Yeah,
That's such a hard one to do. I reckon,
No,
though.
look
Like, if you think
look at the
about it.
trend. The trend is Nintendo opening the gateway. Look at they
No,
getting
I'm not
into
saying, like-
mobile games.
No, I'm not just talking about like the kind of logistics of it. I'm just saying the idea of doing a live action Zelda game just to me seems like such a.
Oh yeah, I think Metroid, to be honest, has probably the most potential in terms of
Of live action or just as
or
adaptation?
an animation. I think
Okay. So not live
it
action.
just seems to have the most. I don't know. Somehow, like Mario, I don't know how you would do that. There's so many different ways that could go. Same with Zelda. Lots and lots of options. You could go more kiddie. You could go more Lord of the Rings style. And then Metroid just seems to fit the bill.
It's just aliens.
Exactly.
Easy. Done.
Perfect.
You just got to, I mean, if we're talking animated, you don't even need to really cast it all that well. You just need to draw it good.
Yeah.
Just needed to be like an awesome kind of design aesthetic with some cool tunes.
Yeah, and some good little action
Bit of
sequences.
action, yeah, maybe some scares.
And then you'll nail it. All right. Our final news thing. This is such a stupid little thing. I'm just gonna say it. Tom,
It's not news. It's just a quote
not
for an
news.
interview.
It's just a funny quote.
Tom Holland's dating Zendaya. Woo!
Oh, did you see that?
Oh, God.
Fuck that. Fucking hate. What was it? Cosmopolitan that did that? Fucking hate all those news.
But isn't it true?
bullshit. No.
That's not true.
They've come out and said it. Well, I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. I don't have a personal line to fucking Tom Holland. You're like, yo, bro.
Oh, you told me you did last week.
We're actually
Fuck you.
talking about this story now. Huh?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry about that.
I in so much as for me to say I fucking hate the kind of people that talk about this story. So there you go.
That's awesome.
You get to the real story.
Yeah.
Whoever
No,
brought
the
that
real
up's an
story, yeah.
idiot.
Fuck, we've hyped it up so much, I don't even want to say it. All right, Tom Holland had said, I kind of want Tobey Maguire to play Uncle Ben. I think that'd be super funny, and I don't think he'll do it.
Wow.
Yeah, this is just a random quote from an interview.
I like
You
this.
really sold it. I love it. I think that'd be the best. Because I was thinking, a week after I'd seen Spider-Man Homecoming, I'm like, they've got to, like, because it's like, stuck out to me as weird. There were no photos of Uncle Ben around the house, which for obvious reasons, they haven't cast anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would have to be some kind of stunt casting to a degree. You can't just have some unknown guy
Yeah.
in the photos. I didn't even think of this. I think it's brilliant. I think it's perfect. It's got to be someone a bit younger than we traditionally know as Uncle Ben because
It'll be Tobey
Marissa
Maguire
Tomei
with
is
a
younger.
beard.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, but can the real question here is, can Tobey Maguire pull Marissa Tomei? The
I mean,
answer is
that,
no.
Yeah, but
So
I think he's a bit younger though, so that might
get Chris
work in his
Pratt in
favor.
there, I reckon.
Is your solution to everything just
Yes.
chuck Chris Pratt
Yes.
I think he already has a role in the MCU. I can't.
That's right.
yeah.
Ant-Man. Yeah.
All right, I'm
I think it's
diverting
cute.
us
I think
away
it'd be
from
really
this.
nice, even if it's just a photo.
Yeah.
In
It was
or something.
interesting.
No, it's not. There's nothing interesting about
No,
this
it was
story.
interesting that how they handled the Uncle Ben thing because it was so part of the Amazing Spider-Man. They decided to tread that and redo it basically. And in this one, they avoided it. When I say this one, I mean Homecoming. It was interesting. It was interesting.
I would have liked
direction.
them to mention Ben.
You are never allowed to accuse me of making a nothing statement again.
You bring the story to me. I take the story. I mold it into something beautiful.
All right.
I mean,
move on?
I was about to continue talking about that because I thought that was interesting, but all right, you can just quash it. That's fine.
No, I reckon we should keep going. Definitely go.
To be honest, I don't actually disagree with you. I do like the way that they addressed that.
Go listen to our Homecoming review to hear all our thoughts.
Yeah.
It's about an hour-long review.
Yeah. Not all our
well.
thoughts because we didn't actually talk about Uncle Ben at all, so this would have been a good forum for it. But it's
Did we not? I'm sure we've definitely
not.
discussed him before.
No, I don't think we mentioned Ben
We
whatsoever.
have
Just
I
like
barely
the film didn't mention it all.
mentioned Miss Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, we have talked about him in the sense that we were worried that he'd feature as a large, or like he would come up in that scene that we've seen in every Spider-Man film so far, which they didn't do, which we were all really quite happy about. Anyways, moving on. We had some trailers this week.
What's that time?
Trailer time.
Yeah.
Can we do like a 90s rap? Like a Will Smith, what's that time? It's trailer time.
We should
Boom,
definitely never rap.
boom,
That's,
boom,
that's for sure.
The three whitest guys walking around.
Yeah.
So first of all, we've got Dark Tower trailer number 2. Not Dark Tower 2, just the second trailer.
Dark Tower 2 comes out before Dark Tower.
We missed it.
Yeah, look, I was so much less excited about that one. The potential reason for that is I have actually started reading The Dark Tower in between seeing the first trailer and seeing the
Big
second
undertaking.
one. It is
7 books.
but I'm kind of gunning through them. So I'm a
What are you up
fast
to?
reader. I'm just finishing up one now.
Cool. Well, you know.
Sorry, I started it in within the month. How much? What do you want from me?
No, it's just you
I have
said,
a life.
Yeah, I'm gunning through them. I'm taking them down one by one. How many have you done? Almost one.
Relatively speaking, then.
I like this trailer more than the last one.
I thought there was a lot less to it.
Yeah.
I watched it this morning. Maybe I was just tired. I don't really remember anything from it.
Yeah, I can't really remember anything. But you know what's interesting is the Dark Tower in my head, I always had this futuristic Western post-apocalyptic kind of vibe. I think the covers always had that kind of look, right? Does the cover of your Dark Tower?
I'm reading it on a Kindle.
Well, there we go.
So the cover's just black.
But there seems to be nothing of that in this. Nothing at all.
Well, we don't really see much of the gunslinger's world from
See a
memory.
bit.
You see a bit.
But it looks
But
more
I mean,
grassy.
Yeah,
it has
I
more
don't know.
vegetation.
I think like in the books, it's very much the end of a world. So you're not going to get like it is.
Yeah, because it's not like a remake. It's a continuation of the story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
spoilers, the Dark Tower's in some kind of time loop. And
Look,
this is him rebooting. The time loop is rebooting, and
Why do you keep looking at me, George? I don't have any.
George is on a time loop.
the loop.
Yeah. Look, this is this trailer just it felt more like what was that Vin Diesel fucking D&D film that came out a year or two
Witch
ago?
Hunter?
The
Witch
Witch
Hunter,
Hunter.
was it?
Yeah.
I like that.
Dude. Was it about family?
Yeah.
I like those kind of movies.
Yeah, look, I kind of you get the pedigree, you got like, Stephen King, it's based off a very successful novels. I feel like I wanted this to be a little bit more than a Sunday afternoon nothing flick.
I know what you mean.
And like the fact that I saw some kind of ray pass over New York in the clouds, like, God fucking damn it, if I see that one more time in a film,
Yeah, gonna rage quit.
oh my God.
That Vin Diesel comparison is worrying and quite apt, I think, because it does look like another one of those kind of high concept fantasy things where you get a little bit of some fantasy world and then you're in New York for the rest of it.
Yeah. And
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
And I really like fantasy films, but I feel like fantasy films should be fantasy films. And I think that there's a clever way to build it into modern times,
But that's always Stephen King's thing. He has very strange, weird, left to center concepts. I mean, think about The Mist.
yeah.
Think about The Langoliers. I don't know if you guys ever
I
seen
know
that.
the Langoliers.
Let's seriously do a review on that. Let's do a
Yeah,
Beers and
right.
Banter on that because that's a
Hell yeah.
classic. He thinks he's got and oftentimes his concepts don't work. Oftentimes his concepts
2 out of 3.
like he's pumping out, I'd say probably a book every 9 months, 12 months. And
I
you
have no
hear
idea,
about
to be
some of the
honest.
synopses and it's
Look, just
What?
kind of bringing it back to the Dark Tower. This trailer makes it.
no.
We're
You're like,
talking
shut
about
the
the
fuck
Langoliers.
up.
Fucking
We're back to the doctor.
Yeah, this for me, it worries me. It looks like a bit of a nothing kind of cash
You're that
grab.
worried? Like you're like rolling around the bed at night like the Dark Tower, man.
It does,
It's gonna
man.
suck.
Yeah,
it's
I-
gonna suck.
Because I'm becoming more and more invested in the story and the characters.
Oh, see, you shouldn't have done this.
I
You should
shouldn't
watch
have.
the movie
I know,
first.
but I feel like if I watch a film first and then try and go back to book, I find it far harder to
Yeah.
get
I
invested.
thought the first trailer was pretty cool. This one just felt like a cut down version of that. I don't know if we even saw anything new.
The
So-
fuck is that?
I don't know. That's me.
Yeah,
sorry.
but I know what you mean.
But before we move on from Stephen King, I just want to mention when I went to see It Comes at Night the other day in my 700-seat giant cinema all alone.
Yeah.
They played the It trailer beforehand.
Is that the
fuck
new
that.
one or
No, it's just the one with like the little slideshow and
Oh, yeah.
and comes to life.
how
and
was
stuff.
that?
It was very unsettling.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is already too intense. I can't watch this next movie. But so good. I think that movie looks amazing.
I am so
Just that
so excited.
You know that sound in the trailer? I love it. I know.
The like the repeating trumpet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way the movie can live up to that trailer, I think. But it looks fantastic.
Yeah. Moving on, another trailer that dropped this week is A Wrinkle in Time. I had like no visibility into this, or that this was coming out or anything. I literally saw it this morning on YouTube as a trailer that had come out.
So this is about Captain Kirk discovering portals or something? What happened?
Yeah. It's
What is
Chris
this, is this
Pine.
based off anything?
It's got to be a book, right?
It's got to be.
I meant to look that up.
it's a Disney film, so I'm assuming it's based off some kind of obscure book. It was the same thing with Tomorrowland was a novel, wasn't it, or something? It was pre-existing.
Novel in Brad Bird's mind.
Tomorrowland was a place in Disneyland,
Oh, that's right.
like
yeah,
Pirates
yeah,
of the
yeah.
Caribbean.
I've even been there. The hell am I on?
So
sorry.
the good in this trailer was I'm seeing some very different things coming from a Disney film. I feel like it had a lot of interesting imagery. The kid playing basketball, like with the repetitions of the driveways.
That was cool.
Very interesting, psychedelic, sci-fi kind of parallel universe. But beyond that, I'm not sure. It looks like it's juggling a lot of things. Don't know if it'll be able to do it all.
Looks like it could be a mess, like a lot of those YA sort of things.
Yeah.
But it's directed by Ava DuVernay, who did Selma, which I thought was a pretty top-rate biopic.
And she's getting a lot of, I guess, coverage, and her profile's really risen over the past few years.
She was in talks for Black Panther, I believe.
she was, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been cool too.
Well, I mean...
I gotta... I don't know, like with, what is it, Valerian and the 1,000 Planets or some shit coming out?
Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets.
That's the one. I got a kind of that kind of vibe out of it, and that's what really grabbed me. I love sci-fi that is willing to be really kind of out there sci-fi. And as I said, I got that vibe from this
Light
trailer.
on the sigh, easy on the fi. Yeah?
Yeah.
Jesus. I love how you just looked at me expectantly and be like, yeah, right?
That's what you mean, though. These big kind of high concept things that are like, fuck it doesn't matter how impossible this is. Let's just get crazy with it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I don't want to get too, big into it, but that more often than not, that kind of thing that's like, oh, that would never really be scientific is kind of, yeah, I'm not going to get into it. Never mind. Fuck it.
Damn.
Good point. Speaking of nothing statements.
Yeah. See, I stopped myself. But yeah, I did get a kind of a Luc Besson vibe from it.
Yeah. A bit more European.
Yeah.
Well, even like Tarsem Singh, I kind of got some of his vibes from this. He did the Immortals, and he did that other crazy French film that's name is escaping me right now. But definitely go check out Tarsem Singh. He's an amazing visual director. Terrible storyteller. Sorry, Tarsem. And also he did The Cell with Jennifer Lopez.
That's a weird one.
Yeah. And Vince Vaughn, I think. Ooh, damn. Anyway.
Jeez.
What a week it's been.
But yeah, no, I kind of really got behind that trailer. We didn't even talk about Oprah Winfrey, did we? No, we didn't.
I mean, talk about it.
Oprah Winfrey's in this. There we go.
There we go.
I've talked about
Covered.
it.
Covered.
It's for all our fans out there who really want to see Oprah in a film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, all right, let's move on. We have promised some Star Wars news. We're gonna give you some Star Wars news.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. So we're gonna do a little bit of a segment. We're gonna call it Jar Jar's Star Wars
Fucking hell.
Corner.
Hey,
Jar
guys.
Jar's.
How's that for the inaugural episode?
Jar Jar Star Wars Corner. Shit.
I should really get tested. I don't think I can speak properly.
Yeah. I don't know. We need some kind of test.
But from now on, you are Jar Jar, by the way.
No.
Yep.
You call me John Cusack one day, you call me Jar Jar the next. Make a decision, commit.
Connor,
and
don't
move
act
on.
like he's not going to edit that right now.
Yeah.
No, I'm leaving that in. That's gold. Guys, welcome to Georgia Star Wars Corner. Take a seat. Get comfy.
Thank God, I've been standing for an hour, man.
Here's a,
Why do you make us stand through these things?
here's a glass of hot cocoa. Get
what?
comfy.
A glass of hot cocoa?
All right. So what a week it's been in the world of Star Wars. Finally, some good news. Jeez. It's been a bit of a bummer the past few weeks being a Star Wars fan. But, it has been a lot of bad news, and Disney and Lucasfilm really needed a win at D23, and I think they have done a really good job, particularly with the behind-the-scenes Last Jedi trailer. They did this for Rogue One last year, not as successfully, I think. I think this is a much better behind-the-scenes
Well, they
trailer.
started out with that one last year.
Yeah, they did. I loved it, and I am so excited about the creatures.
So this is just a little 5-minute video they've released.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That little penguin guy.
The little penguin
oh
guy,
my
the
God.
little fox.
So many practical little animatronics.
I am so excited.
And they did this with The Force Awakens, and I don't want to get angry at The Force Awakens again, but they feel like they did a lot of hyping this up with the practical effects and everything, and I don't think there was that much of it visible in the film.
Yep.
That you get a couple of like cantina-esque shots where there'd be things in the background, but there was not much focus on it. So hopefully they at least play a little more of a role in this movie.
definitely. Well, somebody's playing some rock and roll outside. Typical kind of stuff. Hyping up the film with little anecdotal vox pops from the cast and crew. But I thought it was a really effective trailer. And I love the imagery in this. I think this film has almost like a sepia kind of look. A lot of the scenes, which I think looks extremely different for Star Wars. And that red dirt from that planet Crate. Wow, they're really going for it outside.
Really cranking that music.
The red planet Crate with that dirt. I'm really, really excited for the look of that planet. I am so excited for The Last Jedi. I hope it is incredible.
This trailer, I wanted to ask you guys, the music was it wasn't anything special, but it really got me. But the Star Wars theme in that second half of the trailer, what do you guys think of that?
It was a bit more plodding, wasn't it? I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it
wasn't anything huge, but it was very much they took the theme and they kind of just lengthened it and
they slowed it down a bit.
Yeah. I'm not even 100% sure what they did with it.
Yeah, cool.
But they just kind of incorporated it a little bit more into it, and I'm always really impressed with a theme when they're able to kind of when it's malleable in that, but it's still recognizable.
They had such a good iteration for the Rogue One trailer last year. Damn, what a disappointment.
It was so good in the movie, yeah.
Good in the movie.
I only watched like 60% of this trailer, I think. But
How?
My nostalgia for Star Wars isn't strong enough to get me through being manipulated this hard. When it's just got all these people being like, it's so magical, and you got this stirring music, and it's like, this is the most amazing thing in the world, and I can just picture all these fanboys crying. You're probably crying when you watch it.
Well, I thought it was pretty forced.
Exactly,
I thought it was pretty damn forced.
Yeah.
Really?
And
I thought the first one was more forced just because they were like harping on
Force
about
Awakens, you mean?
I feel like
that was more warranted though, just because that was like the return.
The return, yeah. But I felt like this one was a little bit less kind of on the nose with the practical effects. Like they showed a lot of practical effects, but the first one of these was very much about like, we're bringing it back to practical effects and practical effects.
But then that had a function within like messaging to people like what was the intention of The Force Awakens. So this has a different goal, and I think it succeeded. But I do agree, it really felt a bit forced on some of the stuff they were talking about. But I just want to see that fox, man.
It looks so. I like that they showed it with the face off first.
Yeah,
it looked like something from Five Nights at Freddy's.
Freaky as shit.
Everything I saw in the trailer was really gorgeous and fantastic, and I really hope that the film kind of reflects how much effort is clearly going into this thing.
Yeah. In Rian Johnson, we trust. All right. So we also got some other stuff from D23. We got a Battlefront trailer. Funny story with Battlefront is I went to EB Games, which is a big a chain of video game stores in Australia. And this is when Battlefront 1 came out. And I literally went to buy a PS4 for that game.
Wow.
I picked up the box, I picked up the game, I walked up to the counter, and the dude, the checkout guy, and what a legend, shout out to this guy. He said to me, hey man, just so you know, this game
sucks.
This game only has multiplayer. There's no story. And I was like, fuck that. I'm out. And I dropped it on the ground. It smashed. No, I didn't do that. But
and George never made another real informed choice.
You know what? I love adventure games. I'm not that into multiplayer games. I don't really like people. And this one, thank goodness, has a story mode, and there's clearly a big focus because they kind of harped on about it in this trailer. Once again, I think this one was a bit long. I'm really excited. The gameplay looks amazing, but they were talking so anecdotally and all this bullshit.
They really believe in their own hype.
Jeez, man.
Stuff.
Just get on with it.
I don't think this is like a trailer in the sense of like what you'd normally expect it's
another
a
behind the
cinematic trailer.
scenes.
Yeah, it's another behind the scenes video they put out about Battlefront.
But it was like 4.5 minutes. I think it should have been like 3 minutes.
Yeah, people that are really into these Battlefront games and games in general, they
need
eat this shit up.
Yeah, fair enough. But I'm excited for that.
This was pissing me off. I don't know. It just because there was such a big deal when that last one came out about how it didn't have a single player.
Yeah,
and it was such bullshit. And then they're just like, but now we're doing the single player, and it's the best thing ever. It's
Yeah.
like,
should have done
this
that
should have been in the first game,
Yeah.
you dickheads.
Yeah. Yeah, but people make mistakes, so
Yeah. And it looks
and
great.
Star Wars has made their fair share of
Yeah.
And Battlefront was really cool. The mechanics of it were great. So hopefully the single player campaign is sick. Although I'm getting such a Force Unleashed vibe from it. Like always talk about, you get to play from the Imperial side and see what that's all about. This is just going to be, you're the bad guy, then you're like, oh no, the bad guys are bad, I'm going to be a good guy now.
Well,
There's no way in hell they actually follow the through line of you're a space Nazi and you actually see it from that point of view.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell.
That was kind of one of the things that I was thinking about when watching this is like, if they actually followed through on what they're saying, how would that look in a game? Or just like in a story kind of point of
good
view.
versus evil.
You have to really kind of be buying into the whole kind of individual story of or the individual arc of this character. But even so, like at the back of your head, it has been so ingrained that there is light and dark. Like Star Wars is just good and evil.
But
Yeah.
in saying that,
it's never been this gray area type of story. Or
Like you're going to be going around stringing up Ewoks being like, I'm the good guy.
Yeah. But they have been doing this. They did it with that young adult novel, Lost Stars.
Yeah.
There was a Imperial Rebel thing.
And of course,
grey area, more grey area.
Finn is a stormtrooper. But
Yeah. For like 3
But again,
minutes.
you don't really get a good sense of
came
like
out and
how
said-
he.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say he came out and said, "Oh,
Yeah.
they're bad." I'm like, it was again. It was very clear. It wasn't like he's torn between something. He's just like, "Oh no, I'm a good guy in a bad situation. I'm gonna get the fuck out."
Yeah.
Like there's no gray. Like I mean, Rogue One was the only one that really tackled
Don't talk
gray
about
area.
that movie.
And the reason that I hesitate is because of that kind of reaction.
Yeah, that's funny with Finn. It's like literally the first time he did anything stormtrooper related, he's like, "Oh shit, no."
Yeah, there's no.
He's not the good guy. He sees a bit of blood. He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, so I mean, like it's, Rogue One's the only one in that universe that's actually tackled like gray
It
area.
is the
and-
best, most nuanced Star Wars
It's the
film.
best Star
Well,
Wars
I mean,
yet.
It is in a lot of ways it is far more nuanced than other Star Wars films.
Star Wars, Rogue One is a Star Wars movie. And
It is.
that's about as far as I'll go with that.
Yeah. You give it such a hard time.
Yeah,
man.
I
like
do.
It's
I do.
so
I
this
do.
and this is the thing. Like we've talked about this so many times. People get wrapped up in their own hype of like. You
Yeah.
know, if you don't like a film, then maybe the next time you watch it, you hate it even more, and you hate it because you hate it, and it's
Yep.
like this like spiraling effect. At the end of the day, Rogue One is not as bad as people make it out to seem, and then the people that really love it, it's not as good as those people make it out to be. Like, just I feel like people should kind of just assess it on its own merits and just chill the fuck out.
Yeah,
Go
maybe
listen.
it's just really average, like we say every time we bring it up.
Go listen to our review.
George never reacts to it as if it's just average. That's passion there.
Yeah. It's like how you feel about The Hobbit. That's how I would contextualize it.
No,
It's
stop.
that
No,
much
no,
worse.
because The Hobbit is not average. That is truly bad.
Yeah. Anyway.
Like, don't you dare compare Hobbit to fucking Rogue One.
Rogue
Fuck
One's
you.
those-
Yeah, I like that you just tried to put out a fire by giving the biggest insult you possibly could. So, that's not water, that's kerosene.
All right. Enough about that fucking Rogue One movie. Another piece of news that came out at D23, Star Wars Land got a first glimpse. 14 acres of Star Wars goodness.
Oh boy.
And it's officially titled Galaxy's Edge. I'm not sure how I feel about that title.
It's cute.
I think they maybe thought that Guardians of the Galaxy is a big franchise, so let's just fly that name in there.
Yeah, from a
you
branding
know
point
what?
of
I've
view.
always wanted to go to Harry Potter Land. Now I want to go to Star Wars Land. So
It's not Star Wars Land.
Galaxy's
I've always
Edge.
wanted to go to Galaxy's Edge.
And
Fuck, that's a
while we're-
shit name. I don't know how
You
you're
just
like,
qualified
ambivalent.
that just then.
I like how you were like a little bit ambivalent about it. Like, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, yes, you do. You know exactly how you feel about this name. It's shit.
Kids, we're going to Galaxy Edge.
So,
Fuck you, Dad. Fuck you.
I never loved you.
have they kind of shown what this place is going to be all about? Is it actually going to be like some Mos Eisley sort of thing?
Yeah, it doesn't actually look like it's a planet.
Shitty desert planet.
Yeah, it's just like looks
crap
like
bar.
generico Star Wars looking
Yeah.
planet.
They did a great job with that Guardians of the Galaxy ride, but they just
That
released-
looks so cool.
that Rocket Raccoon animatronic is amazing.
Fuck.
So does this look cool like that, or is it just
I think it's early days.
it's kind of like a really
It's
chintzy
super
sort
early
of
days, yeah.
you
Super
go
early
to
days.
a Star Wars bar and then
And you get blue milk.
yeah.
And you buy death sticks.
Yeah.
And yeah. And you can pilot the Millennium Falcon.
You
The
fly it around?
literal Millennial Falcon.
Millennial Falcon.
You know what?
The
You know what?
Millennial Falcon.
Do you know what was so weird about that? As I was saying it, like my mouth was making the noises, my brain was going, "What are
Fuck.
you doing?" Like my brain just said,
Oh my God.
"Say the name." And then literally at the same time said, "You're saying it wrong. Stop."
It's like
But
you
it was
pause to
too
get
late.
a running start and you still tripped over it.
I don't know how that happened.
Has that been taken? Is that a thing? I'm sure somebody's got Millennial Falcon online. Because
would be.
if that isn't taken, this segment is now called Millennial Falcon.
Falcon.
I'm gonna look it up.
All right, enough about Galaxy's Edge, whatever that is. Final thing in Georgia's Star Wars corner for this round.
Not from D23.
No.
Conspicuously absent from D23.
Yeah, some motherfucker took some photos on set of Han Solo.
And has subsequently disappeared.
They didn't find the body. I think this looks awesome. I think it looks like it reminds me of the Collector from Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Are you
Are we
looking at
looking
the
at the
same
same
photos?
photos?
Are you looking at the same photos?
Like Emilia Clarke, they look like they're in the sort of museum, very ornamental kind of
Man,
look.
can you bring that up again? I feel like I've missed something.
The blue skull, the tree hanging from the ceiling. Yeah. And there's more. There's
There's 2 photos.
And there's a video. After all this time, feeling very nervous about Han Solo, I think out of the 2 sets of shots we've seen, we talked about the first batch a few months ago. They're in the desert with all the retro-looking cars, and this really interesting-looking set. I mean, I think they've nailed the production design.
Thank God the most important thing about a film is set design.
Yeah.
So now we can feel safe that this movie's going to be great.
I'm so secure. And now we got Ron Howard at the helm. I mean,
can stop crying yourself to
what
sleep.
can go wrong?
I feel like the more interesting thing here is that this was not really talked about at D23 at all, this film.
Not at
Well, how do you
all.
salvage this film at this point? Really?
Like, yeah, what do you say? I like that they've just been like,
And we've
maybe
got Ron Howard here.
Maybe people won't notice if we just don't say anything.
Yeah.
I think they really wanted to just like all the attention to be on the next actual Star Wars
Yeah,
film.
just forget about the Han Solo stuff.
They just never release it.
I thought they were going to announce another Star Wars story.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's a good point with the success of
Yeah.
of Rogue One and the
Is Han
potential
Solo
success
being
of Han
marketed
Solo.
as a Star Wars story? It's not, is it? Han Solo,
Yeah.
a Star Wars story.
It's going to be called Solo.
A Star Wars story.
Is it actually good? No, it's not going to be called Solo. is it?
Solo, yeah. And his gun is the L.
That's genius. This is going to be the best movie ever.
I can't tell if you're being serious because we talked as a joke before. We talked about calling it Solo. I think I'm me or you suggested that as a name, and we all like cried a bit.
I
Shouldn't be called the Han Solo film.
I think that's what it's going to be called.
Yeah, what else are they going to call it at this point?
The Solo
Weird that they haven't
Solo
announced
film.
a title, probably.
Nah. Anyway, at least the set's cool. Right?
So when you're
Right.
looking at something like and crying, at least it'll look good.
Yeah, I guess. Oh well, that's the end of Georgia's Star Wars Corner. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back sometime soon.
Do we have to stand up again now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
get the fuck out. Well, that brings us on to our last segment of this week's show, isn't it, Connor?
I thought you were going to go.
Oh,
with it.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll go for it.
I'll do it. Yeah,
No, I've got
it's-
it. I've got this.
You usually
Which
do
is
this.
called our weekly segment, Question of the Week. Yeah. So this one has been submitted by Kieran. Kieran, thank you so much for your question, man.
Thanks, Kieran.
And what a great
buddy.
question it was. It is.
Very
so-
specific.
So in Australia we have a bunch of TV channels. Can you believe it? We're pretty advanced here. And one of these channels is Channel 10. And Channel 10 often in the like 2000s and the 90s, they used to chuck on a Friday night or a Saturday night movie. And it
I think they
seems
still
to be
do, don't they?
probably. There was a point where they didn't, but there was like literally like 10 movies that they recycled.
Yeah. The question was, your favorite '90s Channel 10, and I feel like
Channel 10 that
Yeah.
Channel 10 used to show. What was
Yeah.
your favorite one they used to show?
this one feels like a bit of a sabotage against me because I wasn't actually in Australia in the 90s.
I wasn't, but
Yes, you were.
No, 2001. My family moved here.
Really?
Yeah,
That seems
But-
so weird.
but it was still a thing. Good
Okay.
time.
Anyways,
Well, I'll answer the question. You guys can go home then. I
yes.
guess.
So what was your favorite Channel 10 movie? Friday night movie.
The one that I would always, if I could hear it somewhere in the house, it was on, I'd always sit down and I would just watch the whole thing, would be Men in Black,
Nice.
the Barry Sonnenfeld classic.
That one used to be on all the time.
Yeah,
I
man.
feel.
I just hear that amazing Danny Elfman score and I'd be like,
Yeah.
I am there.
Yes.
I love that movie to this day. I think it's just like a sci-fi comedy masterpiece. Just lightning in a bottle. They tried it again another 2 times. It did not work.
Did not work at all.
Yeah, second one was not good.
Yeah, apparently they wanted Chris Evans for the main role. Well, the producers wanted Chris Evans
the
for the
hell?
main role. Yeah, yeah.
Chris, wait for the Men in Black 1.
For Jay, yeah, for Will Smith's part. And
Weird.
Whoa.
yeah, I think Barry Sonnenfeld actually lied to Chris Evans and said, no, we're not going to take it because he wanted Will Smith for it, which
Wow.
worked out amazingly.
Yeah, it
Um,
did.
Can you imagine that without Will Smith? God.
You know what's crazy?
Be a lot
I
lighter.
never realized that was Vincent D'Onofrio
Yeah,
as
man.
the bad guy.
Yeah.
I never realized that.
Sugar.
He's freaky as shit.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He used
in
to
that
creep
film.
me out when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I
Michael
love that
Jackson's in
octopus scene as well.
Yeah,
by
the
side of
ILM
the road.
special effects, fantastic, and,
yeah.
and all the practical costumes and everything, really,
Yeah.
really good. That's a movie that holds up quite well.
Yeah, I remember loving that as a kid.
Yeah.
Absolutely loving it.
Yeah, and
I
if
still love
I
it.
can just mention a B-side to that, because I think it would often play after Men in Black, would be Peter Jackson's The Frighteners. That would be a little later on at night because it's a bit more adult.
That's a good one.
But yeah, I love that one as well.
Love that. Love the design of death in that.
Amazing.
I'm going to go next. I'm going to choose Castaway. I swear to God, I've seen that movie like 30 times on TV with my mum. Shout out to mum. Seriously, I know that story intrinsically. I just know it. I've seen it from, like often when these things come, you tune in like maybe 20 minutes in or halfway through the movie. So I've seen the front half a bunch of times, I've seen the back half a bunch of times, I've seen the whole thing.
It's a weird one to rewatch.
Wilson!
Yeah, that's one of those films that I watched like once, maybe twice.
Really?
Yeah.
I swear to God, I've seen this so many freaking
Coming
times.
from someone that rewatches movies like religiously.
Yeah.
What's in the box, George? You must have a theory.
Yeah. I hope something great.
I think it's Gwyneth Paltrow's head. It's a bit misshapen. I think the box is a bit small.
But yeah, I mean, I think I've had my fair share of Castaway. And I'm glad I don't watch TV anymore.
It's got to be Robert Zemeckis' one of his last good films.
Yep, definitely.
Possibly the last.
What was the last one? Man on a Rope? God damn it.
I didn't even bother
Man,
seeing
oh,
that.
How about you, Connor? What's your Channel 10 pick?
We've talked about it for quite a while, but it's The Mummy.
The Mummy.
The Mummy. Yeah, look, we've kind of gushed about this film enough, but ultimately, I just really enjoy that film.
It's fine.
It's that great kind of like mix of adventure and kind of horror and comedy all in one.
Yeah.
You don't make them like that anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Well, when I think
guess.
back to like 90s movies, that's kind of one of the quintessential, examples that comes to mind. And it's one that I still enjoy to this day.
Yeah, I find that kind of high concept adventure stuff to be infinitely rewatchable,
Yeah.
regardless of quality generally.
Yeah. I find it's weird. If I'm rewatching something, I don't want something that like I don't very often rewatch like Inceptions or like Castaways that are
Something you're
kind
going to be super involved in.
Well, yeah, exactly. I made the mistake of trying to do that with Incredibles the other day. I think I talked about it on the podcast, but I was just working. I got my laptop out and I was like, I'll just chuck something on in the background. And I was like, oh, I haven't seen Incredibles in a while. And I chucked that on and I didn't get any work done.
Forgot how absolutely engrossing it is.
Oh, you can't just have Incredibles on
It's
in
a
the
brilliant
background.
film.
It's so good.
Oh, well. There
Yeah.
we go. Thanks for your question, Kieran. And if anyone listening wants to send us a question, which I guarantee you we will answer, send us an email at or to thepodcaststrikesbackofficial@gmail.com or send us a Facebook PM or an Instagram DM.
Yeah.
Don't send us anything on Twitter. Like
I'll be honest.
I'm just not across that.
Yeah. Twitter's a dying platform,
That's
anyways.
dead.
We need to get a better email. Let's
Yeah,
be
it's quite
honest, 'cause
long.
That's a very
It's quite
long.
long.
Like even like typing it in to log into anything is a fucking.
Well, you know
nightmare.
what? Right now we have one email, Connor, and if you want to go ahead and make an email for our listeners out there,
Maybe I fucking will.
yeah.
Let's all have competing emails.
Whoever gets
We'll
the
all
most
run our own
emails.
social media account for it. I just want to chuck in a little asterisk on George's comment there. We don't guarantee that we'll answer it because someone's probably going to sell some horrible troll question.
Yes.
So
I'll still
just
answer
give us
it.
a little out there.
I'll still answer it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Connor will answer it.
Thank you for that little disclaimer.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we will have our Castlevania review up later in the week. And let's definitely go see It Comes at Night, Connor, because I think
I'm keen to see that.
Yeah,
I'd
we
like to
missed
review
out
that.
on
I think it's
that.
on a bit late for you guys.
maybe.
Damn it.
Oh, well, we'll be back next week for the weekly movie show. Hell yeah. Connors,
Hello.
Benny's.
See ya.
See you later.